interested in doing Grab the Mic because I was teaching a first year launch course the semester afterward. I thought having specific strategies for first year students probably would be helpful. I saw more probably impacts in my Geology 105, so showing students data related to their performance and success. So I always say the biggest thing you need to do in my class is participate and do pre-assignments, so do the readings beforehand. And so collecting data on students' scores for participation and for their scores on their pre-assignments, and then relating that to their midterm grades and final grades. Students, basically, I could tell them that they should do that, but then seeing data that proves that students that do those things do better on the exams really made students literally go, whoa! Like I heard them say that in the class. So I think that kind of made a lasting impression on them too. And I saw higher participation and pre-assignment grades after showing them that, especially compared to previous semesters, I guess. So students tend to drop out a little bit towards the end of the semester just in their participation and their readings before class, just getting lazy and tired. So I think, showing them that kind of gave them the motivation of, okay, this is important. This is why I'm successful in this course.
I was looking on how to minimize student stress and on how to encourage attendance and participation and on how to increase retention in classes and but all at the same time maintaining academic rigor. I feel that those small changes actually made a huge difference. And so these were not major paradigm shifts. Just a few of the things that I did, instead of the 3 to 4 high stakes, large closed book assessments or exams, I transformed them into 5 to 6 smaller celebrations of knowledge. And even though these were still conventionally closed book, I allowed students to compile a fact sheet that they could have access to during these assessments. And I also decided to build in more redundancy into the course, and I just feel that Fort Lewis College students have borne a disproportionate burden during the pandemic, and they are very vulnerable to a lot of traumatic events and consequences of the pandemic. And for very legitimate reasons, there was high absenteeism, which meant a lot of them were missing assignments. I allowed and allow the ability for students to drop one lowest grade across multiple assignments, and I think that helps a lot without, again, compromising academic rigor. And I just feel that Grab the Mic provided me with the confidence and the impetus to make some of these little changes. And I was very, very grateful for the experience and for the support. And I really believe it has made me a better instructor, and that translates to a better student experience, hopefully.
I took a few strategies from that session and had some success with them in my class this fall. One of them was just simple community building icebreaker that I've done in the past. It's like a bingo activity, but I added some bingo squares that were more culturally responsive or inclusive of a wider variety of students, and that was a success. I also changed the way that I structured assignment instructions. Made it a lot more simple, easier for students to navigate in Canvas, and that was justified by some of the theory we learned about in the Design for Empowerment class. And just anecdotally, I found students were not asking as much questions around how to do assignments or where to find the instructions and so forth. So that was a win.
So for me, the value with Grab the Mic was the chance to work with my peers and think about some of the best strategies for both engaging my students and thinking about better ways to create more community in my classroom. Some of the things I've done are pretty simple. So when we start a new module, it's not every module, but some of them, before we do anything, from a book or from a reading, we'll just sit in our learning groups and write down what we think are the most significant and interesting questions. And they'll write these on index cards, and then I flip them all over at a table in the front of the classroom. and then they'll come up and they'll pick cards, and then student groups will go ahead and research those questions and bring their answers and best evidence back to the whole class, and whichever questions don't get selected by the learning groups, I answer. And I think it just helps, again, with building community, because it's a way that we're learning from one another, right? We're asking the questions that we want to know. We're doing the work to answer them. They know that many of those questions might be on, those quizzes or other types of assessments. And so they take it seriously, but I think that they're just really jazzed about getting to kind of create some of the content too.
One of the changes that I made over the past year was to include daily learning goals in every single class session. It's something that I had learned about and knew that I should be doing for many years, but it really took having this group of faculty that I was working with in professional development to motivate me to really make the change. And I think that for me personally, it helped me to be very organized in my lectures, and it helped me to also write my exams more fairly, I think, because I then had this list of learning goals that I gave the students as an exam preparation tool, and I made exam questions for each of those learning goals. Last semester on my teaching evaluations, I ranked really high for organization and fairness in the course. No students ever complained about things on the test that they weren't expecting. So I'm hoping to keep going on this and help my students really to just start thinking more about their own thinking and to use these learning goals as a tool of what they need to know.